Good morning to you. It's Daybreak here at I-501. Morning, Vicki.
Good morning, Jeff.
Got a phone call here with State Senator here in our 35th District, Tim Sheldon. Good morning, Tim.
Good morning, Jeff. How are you?
I am well. How are you doing?
Good. Kind of soaky out here, though. A little bit wet.
Tim, we were just talking with the superintendents at Pioneer and Hood Canal Schools on their progress here moving forward. They got a vote coming up for the folks in the districts on a cooperative high school. What do you think about this? It's a pretty good deal.
Well, you know, Marty and Sean have done a good job trying to explain it. I did meet with Sean earlier in the year and had quite a long conversation with him about it. And you know, I don't want to throw water on the parade, but it will be a tough sell with the voters. Is my prediction. You know, the last two tax increase proposals were the Parks District, countywide Parks District, and also the last one the county put up for increased dollars for their activities, and both did not do well. I mean, they were in the low 30s or mid 30s for both of them. So the voters are tough sell.
What is it about the Mason County voter that leans no on these so often?
Well, I think it's the economic situation. You know, it's a big hit for people. They also are many retired people, and I think that's a harder one to sell. You know, a lot of people that are older and retired don't talk too much about their situation, but I get people that call and say, you know, Tim, I'm spending more on my property taxes than I ever did on my mortgage. You know, they finally paid their mortgage off, and it's a fixed flat rate over 30 years or 25 years. But property taxes continue to go up, and that's because the valuations increase, and it's tough on a lot of people. So I wish them luck. Another thing I think about, though, they're talking about building outside the urban growth area. You're very familiar with this new Hearst decision and other things. How are you going to get water? How are you going to get sewer? These are big issues. North Mason, the new school, struggled with water and sewer issues out there for a while, and that's in the urban growth area. So it's tough. Those things need to be really vetted and worked for a long time. So I wish them luck.
Looking at some of the bills that you're a primary sponsor on here in the upcoming and ongoing session, I know there's some conversations in the telecommunications committee that you're a part of on rural broadband. What can you tell me about that, and how are we going to be able to connect all the folks in the 35th with some high-speed interneting?
Well, the bill that I had last year is still alive this year, and that's the primary vehicle in our Senate Energy, Environment, and Telecommunications Committee. The bill should have a vote this week. I have been working with the chairman and the stakeholders, we'll call them, obviously the big telecom companies, but also the rural PUDs are very interested in this too. So I think we'll have a pretty good bill moving forward. We're always looking for a funding source, just kind of like the schools issue we just talked about. You always go back to a funding source, and what I'd like to do is see it primarily funded from a portion of the state sales tax that telecom companies pay. So right now they pay 6.5% to the state on your bill. I'd like to see a portion of that diverted to help establish broadband infrastructure. Now, that's not a hit on your bill. It's not a new tax. It's just a diversion of a tax that's already being paid to the state, and I think it's in the state's interest to have broadband fully developed and distributed in the rural areas, because we're going to stay at home and work. We're going to have the opportunity to have our kids fill out their applications for college online like everybody else. We're going to have just great opportunities in a rural setting. Otherwise, we're moving to the cities. I mean, our kids and our grandchildren are moving to the cities, and broadband is essential, just like it is for your electric power, your water. It needs to be done. So it's got some legs. We'll very hopeful. It is a short session, as you know, Jeff.
Yep.
I'm hopeful we can get something done this year.
Senate Bill 6240. What is a miniature hobby boiler?
Sure. I call them baby boilers.
A baby boiler.
Their baby boiler is the hobby trains that you see that individuals and clubs and groups put together. They're at parks and they're at fairs and those kinds of things. And kids can ride on them, but they, they're adult supervised and built. And Labor and Industries inspects all boilers. And these hobby boilers are very different. They're very small, and they don't need that scrutiny that the larger boilers have. And, they just don't work the same way. Same principle, certainly, but they're much smaller. Now, Labor and Industries is fine with the bill. They've testified in favor of it 2 years ago, and the bill just didn't get a hearing in the House. So I'm hopeful next week that bill will move through the Senate.
So is this the first thing that popped in my head was the great times I have at the Matlock Old Timers Fair, and they got that old steam donkey that they go back and forth there. Is that the kind of stuff?
That's a little bigger. No,
okay.
Lou Parsons owns that up in Lake Cushman, and that's a different situation. That is inspected yearly by Labor and Industries. But these small, it would be a railroad type operation.
Okay.
Small, tiny, mini railroad operation, and they're fun. And there's a group out in Port Orchard that does this, and they have them all over the state. But just cutting back on the regulation would help them a lot, and not classify them as some kind of an industrial use or larger boiler.
Huh. Interesting. That's always something. I tell you what.
Well, it's a lot of these bills are not exciting or not sexy and broadband kind of thing. They're just constituent bills to help clubs and people and groups that are overregulated.
You can find out more about Tim and the committees he's on and get in touch with him so you can be one of those constituents that brings issues to his desk, and hopefully he can help you out with it. Tim Sheldon is online, timsheldon.src.wastateledge.org. We'll put the links in there as well, of course. Tim, thanks for calling in.
I think that website is a little different, though, because SRC, I think, stands for Senate Republican Caucus, and I'm a Democrat.
Oh, I know that, but this link, you got to get.
So double check that. They got me in a separate group. They're more of an independent. So
I see this. All right. Well, we'll get the proper links there for you for sure.
Good deal.
All right, Tim. Okay. Good to talk with you, buddy.
See you later.